Chapter 19, The Long Walk. It's never good for a secret to come between friends. We went on foot to Macon's house, walking along the lagoon path. Lovey toyed with her sea turtle necklace charm and chewed her lower lip. "You thinking about what to say?" I asked, trying to break the quiet between us. She shrugged without glancing at me. Snap! The loud sound of twigs cracking made us freeze. We scanned our surroundings. Just off the path to our left, we quickly spied a family of deer munching on leaves and twigs in a tangle of overgrown bushes. "They're so close, I feel like I could touch them," I whispered. "Never touch a wild animal, remember?" she whispered back. I rolled my eyes. Duh, it's not my first day on the... Another movement in the bushes made us go silent again. In a flash, the deer bolted. Something new was moving from the forest toward the path. This sound was heavier, like something was dragging, something big. Lovey linked her arm in mine, squeezing it. I leaned into her too, but I hoped she couldn't feel my heart trying to pound itself out of my body. "What's that?" Lovey whispered. "An otter, maybe?" "Maybe. My aunt said she saw two on the island." We watched, not moving, not even taking a breath, as the tangle of brambles and bushes and weeds rattled. That would be a big otter then," I replied, pulling back on Lovey's arm. We took a few slow, cautious steps backward. The underbrush slowly parted, and then, with barely a sound, a massive, leathery, brownish-black snout poked out. Its long mouth was in an upturned grin. Two big, sharp, upper teeth pointed upward. Lovey sucked in her breath. Another step forward revealed its massive head. Big Al. His name fell from my lips with a mix of wonder and fear. The alligator eased its impressive 13 feet from the shrubs with a slow swagger, as if the creature knew he was king of the island. "He's huge," Lovey whispered, terror making her voice tremble. The gator paused, giving us a full view of his profile. I swear, he looked as long as a truck. "Let's get out of here," I whispered, tugging her arm. "Don't run," Lovey said in a shaky voice. Al began moving again, and again we froze. The alligator looked away from us, as though we weren't even there. Then with a step, he sauntered across the dirt path on his way to the pond. Lovey said in a low voice, "Just keep walking backwards, nice and slow." I didn't need any encouragement. We started inching our way back, lifting our feet higher so as not to make noise. Our eyes peeled on Big Al. He'd already reached the pond and was slipping soundlessly into the dark water. I felt sorry for the birds waiting there, but didn't shout out. Instead, we turned heel and took off running. "Feet don't fail me now," I called out, laughing in relief as we ran down the road. We were still laughing by the time we got to Macon's house. We couldn't wait to tell Macon about Big Al. He loved alligators. He even had a poster of them on his bedroom wall. When we reached Macon's front door, Aunt Sissy answered the door. "Well, this is a surprise," she said. She changed from her red shorts and white top and was wearing tan pants and a white polo. "Come in before we let all the air conditioning out." "Aunt Sissy, what are you doing here?" Lovey asked. She ushered us into the Simonsons' spacious front hall. "I'm officially helping Macon's mom now that she's getting close to her due date." She shut the door behind us. "I'm guessing you're here for Macon?" "Yes, ma'am. Sorry to say, but he's not here. He was here for a short minute and then he left again. Hold on a second. I'll ask his mother if she knows where he was headed." "Where do you think he went?" Lovey asked me when her aunt left the room. "Beats me. It's getting close to dinner time. Not like Macon to miss a meal." I looked over my shoulder, then said, "Is your aunt working for Mrs. Simmons now?" "Sort of. She checks in on her now that Mrs. Simmons is getting closer to her due date." Lovey looked up when her aunt returned to the front hall and waved us in. "Mrs. Simmons asked if she could speak to you. Do you have a minute?" The living room was up another flight of stairs, higher up where the windows overlooked the trees to see clear to the ocean. Honey once told me she thought the Simmons house had the best ocean views on the island. Boy, was she right. It was a big, sunny room in cheerful, bright colors like the clothes Mrs. Simmons wore. She was stretched out, her head wrapped in a colorful scarf. Her belly had grown since the last time I was over. It looked like she had a basketball under her tunic. "Hi, guys," Mrs. Simmons called out in greeting when we entered. Her smile was as bright as the sunshine. "Hi, Mrs. Simmons. How are you feeling today?" I asked politely. "Big," she replied, and gave her rounded abdomen a gentle rub. "You're here to see Macon. He's not here right now, but I'm glad you came over. Could you come on over here, please? I'd like to ask you a question about something while Macon is gone." She gestured to the chairs nearby. Lovey and I looked at each other warily. I had a sinking feeling we were going to get in trouble for pestering Macon. We obliged, each slinking into a chair. Lovey sat straight and held her hands in her lap, real tight. Her aunt stood by her side. Mrs. Simmons smiled again, and I could tell she was trying to make us feel comfortable. "Happy 4th of July," she said. "Macon told me you had a real fine parade." I peeked out the window, couldn't see much. "But I heard you." She laughed lightly. Then she looked at her hands while we sat quietly. "Macon also told me about what happened at the creek." She looked up at us. "He told you that he couldn't swim." I squirmed and nodded my head. Here it comes, I thought. "That was a big secret for him to share," she told us. "We didn't mean to make him mad," Lovey blurted out. "We didn't know." "He wasn't mad," Mrs. Simmons said kindly. "He was more embarrassed. He knew you both loved swimming. He didn't want you to find out." "I'm sorry for what I said to him," I said. "I know you are, Jake," Mrs. Simmons said kindly. "The thing about secrets is that they can be difficult to keep. Some secrets are good, like surprises or gifts. Some secrets are not so good. No adult should tell you to keep a secret if you think it's wrong or it makes you feel uncomfortable. Trust your instincts. Tell your parents." She paused and looked out the window a moment. When she turned back to us, she smiled sweetly. "And then there are the secrets that hide something we're embarrassed about. You didn't know why Macon didn't want to go in the water with you. This was a secret that was Macon's decision to share. And I'm glad he did. It's never good for a secret to come between friends." "I'm just glad he told me," I said. "Exactly. Now, since we're confessing secrets," Mrs. Simmons says, "here's mine. I don't know how to swim either." I looked at her in surprise. I didn't know anyone, grown up or kid, who didn't know how to swim. Now I knew 2 people. "Swimming wasn't important in my family," Mrs. Simmons explained. "My mama and daddy didn't know how either. I grew up in these parts, near the water. I love the ocean, the rivers and creeks. I can look out this window all day and my heart just sings," she said, staring out at the brilliant ocean shining under the blue sky. "South Carolina is home for me. Water is a part of the landscape I grew up with. But swimming, to be honest, the water scares me. I don't even like getting in the shallow end of the pool." Mrs. Simmons readjusted herself gingerly in the recliner. "When Macon was 4 years old, I wanted him to learn how to swim. I overcame my fears, signed him up for lessons at our local pool. He liked to swim. I was so proud of him. He could blow bubbles and was a strong kicker," she smiled. "You know how strong he is." "Yeah," I said. "He was doing really well, jumping in and getting to the side of the pool all by himself. Truth is, I thought he could swim better than he actually could." She smoothed her hand over the rim of her belly, and I let down my guard. Her voice grew soft, and I leaned in to hear better. "It all happened so fast." "It was a crowded day at the club," Mrs. Simmons continued. "I was sitting outside the pool, talking to a friend. Macon was beside me, sitting on a towel, playing with a toy. One minute he was there, and the next minute, when I looked up, he was gone. I was frantic. I leaped from my chair, calling his name. I'd never been so afraid." She paused to rub her belly again and took a short breath. Aunt Sissy drew close to her. "Are you okay?" "Just a twinge," Mrs. Simmons said. She took another short breath and exhaled. Then she returned to her story. "It couldn't have been more than a minute or so, but it felt like forever. When I spotted him, he was in the pool, underwater, struggling." She shook her head. I couldn't even jump in to save my own baby. What happened? Lovey asked at the edge of her seat. We were blessed, Mrs. Simmons replied. The lifeguard heard my cries, and in a flash she jumped in and grabbed him. She lifted Macon out of the water. I'll never forget the sound of that huge breath my baby took, his mouth wide open like a fish. I wrapped him in a towel and hugged him to within an inch of his life. We got there just in time. He didn't swallow any water, but... Mrs. Simmons shrugged. Another minute it could have been a very different story. That incident confirmed my fears of the water. We left the pool that day and never returned. Macon never took classes again, never entered a pool, never swam. He never said he didn't want to, but he never said he did either, and I never encouraged him. Didn't you go back to the beach? Lovey asked disbelievingly. I knew she couldn't imagine a life away from the beach. Sure we did. We traveled to islands on vacations. We just did things other than swim. We played on the beach, and there was golf and tennis. In the city, swimming isn't a big deal. It's not a sport Macon's ever been interested in. She paused. Until this summer. She looked out the window again. I suppose I should have seen it coming, living on an island, she laughed lightly. Do you think he wants to learn how to swim now? I asked. Yes, I think he does, especially with you two as his friends. He feels a bit left out. He could take private lessons at Hewler House, said Lovey. That's where I learned how to swim. Aunt Sissy added, That's a little community center here on the island. It has a nice swimming pool, and I know an excellent instructor I can ask. Mrs. Simmons smiled. That's a wonderful idea. I'd feel safer knowing that he could swim. She looked again at me and Lovey. I knew you two would have a good idea. Why don't you go talk to him about it? Where is he? I asked. Mrs. Simmons smiled. He said something about a stakeout? Aunt Sissy prepared sandwiches, drinks, and cookies for us to take with us, reminding us that there would be free hot dogs at the creek if we wanted more. I'll call Honey and let her know what's happening. Have a good time, children. The gazebo was empty when Lovey and I returned. We picked up our pace as we walked toward the beach and the turtle nest. The sun shimmered off the ocean water, making me squint beneath my ball cap. A woman, with her dog on a leash, trotted by close to the tide line. It was late in the afternoon, and everyone had packed up their towels and headed home for barbecues and fireworks. We found Macon sitting alone on the sand near the nest. His knees were bent, and he had his arms wrapped around them as he looked out at the sea. His backpack was beside him. I thought he looked sad and lonely, and that made me feel sad too. Hey, Macon, I called out. He spun around at my call, surprised to see us. What are you guys doing here? We came looking for you, Lovey said. We reached his side and let our backpacks hit the sand. Anything happening? I asked. Nope, he replied. I spread out my towel beside Macon. Lovey did the same. We joined him at the nest, legs crossed. It felt good for the three of us to sit together again, side by side. I'm sorry, man, I said. Me too, Lovey said. It's okay, Macon said. No, it's not, I said. I pushed you to admit you couldn't swim. I'm sorry, but I'm glad you told me. Us, Lovey chimed in. Right, us. We're a team, the Dawn Patrol. I let my fingers drag the sand. What did you think we'd say? Macon picked up sand and let it trail through his fingers. I thought you'd laugh. He looked at me, and there was accusation in his eyes. You did laugh. I jerked my head over to look at him. No, I didn't. Macon's eyes flashed. You said you couldn't believe anyone didn't know how to swim, he fired back. Oh yeah, I said, ashamed. That did sound mean. I'm sorry, I didn't mean it like that. Whatever, he looked at his shoes. I'm glad we know, Lovey said. A lot of things make sense now. Why you didn't want to kayak or go in the waves. I didn't want you guys to think I was, weird. Besides, it just seemed easier not to tell you. I don't know, Lovey said softly. Sometimes secrets are the hardest thing to keep inside. I looked at her, knowing she was talking about her dad. I guess I was embarrassed I didn't know how, Macon said. I mean, I'm almost 12. We all have something we're embarrassed about, Lovey said, afraid to let other people know about, in case they laugh. Yeah, Macon said. Lovey took a deep breath, then looked at Macon. I know what that feels like. She paused to twiddle with her sea turtle necklace again. To feel embarrassed. Macon furrowed his brows in confusion. What do you mean? She shifted her body and looked down at her flip-flops, which were coated with sand. I have a secret, but I don't want to have a secret between us. Macon sat quietly, listening. My daddy, she paused. Not my real daddy, but my biological father, she explained. She paused again to bite her lip. He's in prison. Macon's chin dropped. Really? For how long? A long time, since I was in kindergarten. That's tough, said Macon softly. Yeah, everyone at school knows I'm that girl, the one with the bad dad. I hear them talking about me behind my back. How come you never told us? Macon asked. Why didn't you tell us you couldn't swim? She asked. Yeah, okay, I get it, Macon said. Your mom told us about what happened to you when you were little, I said to Macon. How you almost drowned. His eyes widened with surprise. She did? When? We went to your house looking for you and she told us, Lovey said. That had to be so scary. Macon nodded. I still remember that day, he said. I had on green swim trunks, my favorite. They had these little frogs all over them. He leaned back on his arms. It was weird being underwater and looking up and seeing blurry colors above me. I kept kicking and reaching, but no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't get out. My chest hurt. Then, in a flash, this lifeguard was yanking me out of the water. I remember my mom's face. She was screaming and crying. He shook his head. That's what scared me the most. You almost drowned, the words fell out of my mouth. Yeah, Macon said, and blew out a plume of air. It gave me nightmares for a long time.